Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Just want to make sure all the okay. Welcome back to the channel. It's been a while, but I am back, and tonight, like I said, we're having a look at Eric Dubay. So I'm going in blind. I downloaded the video. I can't even remember what the title was. I'll check on his YouTube channel now. But the video is here. I'm going in completely blind. And yes, let's just welcome chat. And thanks for being my emotional support group, stating the obvious. So let's get into Eric so that he can, just be Eric and carry on with what he does best, which is lying about what he believes is the flat earth.
Dennis Diderot said, "The great tragedy of science is the slaying of a beautiful hypothesis by an ugly fact."
It's funny that if you take that to the flat earth, not a beautiful hypothesis, but still it's your hypothesis and it gets slain by the beautiful fact in this case that it's not flat.
If the Earth is a sphere or ball, then there must be evidence of a curved surface. Generations of children and adults.
I know we've been through this. There is evidence, like things disappearing over the horizon. And I'm pretty sure he's going to get into maybe like a Nikon P1000 or whatever. But yeah, so proof of a curvature, we've got photos from space. That's about as much proof as you need. You know what we don't have proof or photographic evidence or anything is the flat earth. Slightly more volume. Let's do that. Let's increase my mic first of all. Okay. Let's let's start there. And then I don't want Eric too loud. Okay, so please tell me how this goes now.
From Aristotle to Roman times to this day, have believed that the curve can be proved by watching ships gradually disappear as they move away going over the curved surface of a spherical Earth.
Like I said, I go into this blind without knowing what he's going to say. And the first thing that I think he's going to say, he just says, there's beautiful, beautiful images of ships over the horizon where there is no hull visible, yet you can see the top of the ship. Please explain how far you have to zoom in to then see the hull if you can see half of the ship already. Yeah, sorry, stating the obvious. We have to hear Eric. Otherwise, it's going to be a bit awkward, and I don't want to debunk just silence.
Because it is going around the curve of the Earth, right? But does this really prove the Earth is a ball? Mathematicians have worked out.
Yes. What shape is there that you can use that any object as it goes towards your edge of vision, that it will gradually disappear? It is something that has to be spherical. So it can either be a sphere, something almost like an oval, like a rugby ball, something like that, or like a watermelon, something with that shape more or less, but not something that's flat. Even if it was a cube, you'd go straight and then just dip. Um, so, yes, there's only technically one shape that can prove that.
out a mathematical formula based on spherical trigonometry to calculate what happens when a ship goes over the horizon and disappears from sight. The formula
Oh, he's gonna. Oh, he's not gonna do the 8 inches per mile squared. This is actually a more accurate formula to calculate hidden distances with, given that there isn't a lot of refraction. But um, yeah, so unless he's gonna use this actual formula, um, or he's showing this and he's just gonna say 8 inches per mile squared, because that's the flat Earth rhetoric that he just always utters. Um, let's have a look.
for finding how far a distant object is below the horizon is 8 inches, 2/3 of a foot, per mile.
There it is. It's 8 inches per mile squared, even though this image he shows, where X is the drop, the vertical drop due to curvature, is R, which is the radius of the Earth, minus R times the cosine of the angle between you and the point that you are measuring. So this entire formula he wants to use here already is on a spherical Earth. No 8 inches per mile squared. The radius is included. You are taking the angle between you and a point, and I'm guessing that angle should be in radians. Okay, I can't see there. But any case, it's all of this is on a sphere or on the edge of a circle, but on a sphere for right now.
Squared. C equals 2/3 times the diameter squared. The answer is in feet, where C is the curve, 2/3 of a foot is 8 inches.
He still hasn't gotten to an image that shows 8 inches per mile squared.
And D is the distance below the curve. The answer is in feet. For example, a ship at sea is 10 miles away.
Yeah, here's a Nikon P900. So the fun thing is, if we take a look at that
8 inches.
Boat, does it appear over the horizon? Wrong button.
Example, a ship at sea
So
is
there.
10 miles.
Just a little bit back.
2/3 of a foot is 8 inches, and D is the distance below the curve. The answer is in feet. For example, a ship.
So if you look there, there's part of that ship completely missing. Yet, there's no evidence of a curve. Even the Nikon P900 can't find the bottom of that boat. Mixed units, is this British or something? Well, I'm South African, so we use the metric system, and then Eric American, so freedom units. So I'm guessing wherever he got that from should be, let's see, using AutoCAD, miles, feet, inch. So that's miles. So freedom units. Oh, it's just the same, but in kilometers. So at least he caters for the rest of the world as well.
horizon. C equals 2/3 times d squared. D equals 10 miles. C equals 2/3 of 10 squared, 10 times 10. The answer is in feet. Answer equals 66.
At only 10 miles away, the target would be 60. Oh, Eric, you put the 3 sixes after each other. Is this like now you coming out as like part of the Illuminati or something? Because I remember if anytime like it just looks like there's 3 sixes, it's the Illuminati or something. But at only 10 miles away, the target would be 66.6 feet below the curvature. So let's have a look at this. Where is, I just want to see if this is accurate. So remember, this does not take refraction into account. So at 10 miles vertical, I'm guessing is this. I want to go to the 2000. Yeah, so it's not 10 miles distance from you. So it's a 10-mile vertical, a horizontal line. So straight forward, there would be a 66.68. So if you want to round, it's 66.67. So at least the graphic is somehow accurate. I just don't know. Let's quickly check here. What type of, that was like a cruise ship? Military, it seems. Let's see what a Navy vehicle looks like. What vehicle? Ship. Okay. So small, on the smallest end, it's 100 to 150 feet. So if we take, yeah, so that probably not 10 miles, but still accurate. If we take from top to bottom, I just want to read here, with deck heights, multi-story building, 16 feet below floor. But yeah, if that is split in half, that could be, if it is a battleship like Iowa class, half of this should be 100 feet and a half of 100 is 50. So we are getting close to the 66. So it's not that far off. With Dubay's creepy voice, I've got a theory that he's not a real person. Like, I've never seen him. It's always just these voiceover. It does give me that, you know, those AI videos always on TikTok and Instagram. It gives me that vibe.
66.6 feet. The above formula is based on basic spherical trigonometry, but if one goes to check this formula on the internet, one will see it can be expressed so complex, even scientists find it hard to follow. According to critics, the change is recent to support.
Wait, what? What do scientists find hard to believe?
If one goes to check this formula on the internet, one will see how a simple idea can be expressed so complex, even scientists find it hard to follow.
No. Scientists don't find it hard to follow the Earth curve calculator. The correct one, though, not the 8 inches per mile squared. If scientists were to find this hard, they should not be wearing the badge of scientist. And again, scientists, none of them are out there trying to prove the shape of the earth, because by this time it's just an established fact. So Eric is too boring. I agree. Very monotone. Maybe like one of the early models. Or awfully incorrect. That's quite true. That's probably his um, AI acronym explanation. Yeah. So smug is probably in his tagline somewhere, next to like yoga instructor and liar.
According to critics, the change is recent to support a spherical Earth and heliocentricity. This experiment will need two experiments.
Recent. How long have we known that the Earth is sphere? It's thousands of years, right? Um, let's see. Yeah, over 2,000 years. It's not that recent. You know what's more recent? Modern physics, quantum mechanics, Newton's laws of motion. Those are all newer discoveries in science. This really baffles me.
Monitors. Apparatus needed is a video camera with a large zoom lens, access to a large lake like one of the Great Lakes, preferably frozen on a very calm and clear day. Set up a station on the edge of the lake and place a marker on the ice 3 miles away. Use a drone flying at a constant controlled 1.
Eric, I'm not sure if you've seen, what's that Netflix documentary? Beyond the Curve or something like that. You know, like the lift up your light high above your head. Interesting. That, yeah, that's exactly what you're explaining here. And it didn't go too great when it happened, did it?
Meter above the ice so as to pass over the 3-mile marker. The drone camera will identify the marker and stop. Hover in the place still at 1 meter above the ice. Can the experimenters see the drone by naked eye? Or has it gone over the curve? Or has it disappeared because the drone has gone beyond the vanishing point, the limit of the human eye to see in the distance?
Okay. So, no. First of all, refraction. So, rather do it at night with lights and cardboard cutouts with holes in them and tell me what you see. Or better yet, just watch your Flat Earth documentary or whatever.
Now video the drone using the zoom lens and ask, can it still be seen? Now repeat the experiment, but put the marker at 6 miles away and video through the zoom lens.
Okay. Great idea, Eric. Why haven't you done it? Why have you not at all tried to set out any experiment that would prove that this is indeed true? Probably for the same reason you rejected the free trip to the South Pole, because you knew it would crush your entire grifting persona, because then you'd have to admit that you were lying the entire time. So, just for context, we've only gotten just about 3 minutes into Eric's video. There's still about 20 left.
Carefully collate the video footage. Repeat the experiment for analysis. There are other factors that need to be taken into consideration, of course. In this experiment, there is no need to use complex, contrived mathematical equations. Just simple observation and common sense.
Water doesn't curve. The Earth is 70% water. Therefore, the Earth is flat. That is really grasping at straws. Take a look at a water drop. Let's start there. Is a water drop completely flat, or is it like a drop shape? Is it like curved? Who knew water could curve? Look at like a bottle. You see there, like on the edge, you call it a meniscus. It curves. It's not just flat throughout the bottle. So this theory is down the drain.
Water flat? The Earth is over 70% water, and water is flat. So where
The Mojang, it's an experiment. So it used to be hot, but now it's cool.
is the curve? Whenever experiments have been tried on the surface of standing water, the surface has always
The funny thing is the bottom, well, first of all, the top left. Yes, that's science on small scale, that's what you'll see. But the bottom one is more accurate to reality because on the Earth, if you would have had 5 containers all connected with tubes, one on the North Pole, 2 on the equator, and then like 2 in between, that's exactly what you'll see. They'll all just be perfectly level to the ground. But that's it. It doesn't mean the Earth is flat.
been found to be level. If the Earth were a globe, the surface of all standing water would be convex. This is experimental proof the Earth is not a globe. No curve is seen when mountains are observed at a distance as well. And
First of all, landscapes aren't flat, so it would be very difficult to see curvature. But if, let's say, the Earth was flat, I, here in South Africa, would be able to see Mount Kilimanjaro, which is in the center of Africa, in the Serengeti. I would be able to see it, but I can't. I can't even see Table Mountain, which is 1,000 kilometers away from me. Even better, I can't see the Drakensberg, which is 300 kilometers away from me. So, how do you explain that?
Edward Henry cites John McIntyre, who researched 3 mountains, Mount Tennant, Mount Greybeard, and Mount Frying Pan, all very nearly the same height. Standing on Mount Tennant, McIntyre expected to see Mount Greybeard lower down than Mount Frying.
No. I just want to read this. Experiment. Well, that's not exactly how it would seem to you, because if you stand, your eyes are naturally drawn to the horizon. So it would seem to you that the mountains all converge towards the horizon. But again, the horizon is fixed. If you go up, the horizon doesn't go higher along with you. But on a flat Earth, the horizon would rise as you rise, but it doesn't.
Frying Pan because of the curve of the Earth, since it was 34 miles away. But to his shock and surprise, it was the same height. When scientists are confronted with these factual results, they will split hairs to bend the results to support what they believe. But belief always carries the day, not science. According to critics, when scientists discovered the Earth was a flat plane, they realized they had a problem. So how did they cope with the spherical Earth theory?
I zone out when he talks. I have to go back. I've got no idea what he just said.
When scientists are confronted with these factual results, they will split hairs to bend the results to support what they believe.
That's just it. No, scientists never bend their results. In fact, if you can prove to a scientist that they're wrong, it would be a greater achievement than they achieved to think that they were right. Because now we are going in the right direction again. Whereas just lying about what your facts are would be a snowball effect, because someone else would then try and repeat whatever you said happened, and then it wouldn't happen. And that would be bad, because then it would show you're a liar.
But belief always carries the day, not science. According to critics, when scientists discovered the Earth was a flat plane,
No, scientists did not discover the Earth is a flat plane. In fact, quite literally the opposite. It was thought that the Earth is a flat plane. But over 2,000 years ago, we as a human species made the great discovery that it's not. This set in motion what could only be the greatest discoveries ever, because this led to us thinking that, first of all, the Earth isn't flat, it's a planet. Now everything rotates around us. Let's look further to see what else is out there. Oh wait, we rotate around the sun. Let's look further. There are more planets. There are more stars, more galaxies, more solar systems. There's an entire universe for us to explore.
they realized they had a problem. So how did they cope with the spherical Earth theory that was so well developed and inscribed into the human psyche for centuries? Well, they had gone too hole to turn back for sure. The truth about the real shape of the Earth is too shocking. So they
No, it's not. So, I'm not sure what he's going to talk about here, but this is quite an interesting map because it shows how warped the countries truly are if you project them flat. Whether it's the Mercator projection or the one that the flat earthers use, I just can't remember its name now. Which one you use, it completely distorts all the countries. This one distorts the countries as you move away from the equator. Because, I mean, look at Greenland versus Brazil. I mean, Brazil's almost perfect. Greenland is, what's that, 10 times its size? That's completely distorted. Now, the same for the other one. As you move away from the North Pole, the countries get stretched out, which again, in reality, doesn't make sense because we can physically measure the distances in countries. Or are you going to tell me that the kilometer and the mile and the foot and the inch, all as you move away from the North Pole, start to change? The Gleason's map. Thanks. Yeah.
wrapped the flat Earth map around a globe. But this made problems of their own. problems found on Mercator's projection, where Greenland appears huge, much larger than it really is. In actual fact, Greenland fits 13 times into the continent of Africa. The strategic map in the White House is there for military uses, should the USA be attacked. The famous blue marble is not a photograph of the Earth from space.
So, the difference between a fabricated image and a composition. If I had to stitch together, let's say I took a picture of your face, centimeter by centimeter, and I went all out and I stitched them together in Photoshop. Is that a fake image of your face? Because it's your face, it's taken inch by inch, yet I had to use Photoshop to get the big picture. But it's fake, so it's not you.
Space, as many believe. It's a composite of strips of a flat Earth map wrapped around a sphere.
No, it's not. The thing is, you can't wrap a flat picture around a sphere, and you can't put a sphere on a flat plane without distorting stuff. Now, the fun thing is, on the globe, you can measure distances and they correlate directly 1-to-1, well, whatever your scale is, with the real world. So let's say, for instance, we take Cape to Cairo. So Cape Town to Cairo, basically the length of Africa on a globe sphere model. And whatever that scale of the model is, we multiply with that. That's going to be pretty bang on the distance, the real distance from Cape Town to Cairo. Yet, it's fake. Whereas if you use the flat Earth map, Cape to Cairo, and you try and correlate that back, it won't work. It won't even work to do east to west across anything, because that's how it's distorted.
Any flat image can be wrapped around almost any 3D shape. See one of these many blue marbles, for instance. These are just some of the many blue marbles made over the years.
So, first of all, there's different ways of getting these images. I think none of them, if not or most of them, are not taken as one single picture. As far as I know, I'm not sure, you can correct me in the comments, there's one picture that's a complete picture of Earth taken from one photo. And that was during the Apollo missions back in the 60s and 70s. Now, most of our images are satellite images stitched together. Unless some new images came out and I'm not up to date yet. But yeah, so every 10, so you see, every 10 minutes we get an image of Earth, yet it's fake. How often do we get an image of the flat Earth? Does anybody know? I'm pretty sure it's never.
But this is not a photograph. It is admittedly photoshopped strips wrapped around a sphere.
Photoshop does not mean fake. Again.
Also, the image of the Milky Way galaxy cannot be a photograph, since no vehicle carrying a camera.
Nobody ever thought, well, okay, maybe some people thought these are real images, But this is data stitched together to generate an image.
Camera launched from Earth has ever been outside the galaxy. It's an artist's impression of a theoretical idea. But how many people believe this is an actual photo? Mountain ranges
That might not be an actual photo, but we do have actual photos of other galaxies outside of the Milky Way that we can actually see.
reflected in lakes is a good example of the flat Earth. If Earth is a sphere, then lakes should behave as convex.
Okay, so this lakes should be convex mirrors. Sure, let's agree with that. But the greater your radius, the less the distortion would be. So if you had a mirror as big as a tennis ball, the distortion would be immense. I mean, look into a tablespoon. That distortion is immense. If you had a sphere as large as the Earth, with small distances like this, the curve is negligible. So the distortion will be negligible.
Mirrors, and the image smaller, as seen at B. Mountains reflecting on a lake or sea, the reflection is the same size as the mountain in A. On a curved Earth, the reflection would be smaller, like in B. What do we actually see?
So, sorry about that. Just
Ranges reflected in lakes is a good example of the flat Earth. If Earth is a sphere, then lakes should behave as convex mirrors, and the image smaller, as seen at B. Mountains reflecting on a lake or sea, the reflection is the same size as the mountain in A. On a curved
Eric, take a spoon. Put 2 or 3 fingers like this over the spoon. Does the reflection end before your finger or after your finger, as in figure B? No. Yet the spoon is curved. This does not make sense at all.
Earth, the reflection would be smaller, like in B. What do we actually see? What do reflections look like here on our actual Earth? These photos show perfect reflections, which are exactly the same.
Again, this is a great example. So they've been in somewhere in America, Chicago or Atlanta or one of, I don't know, somewhere there. Again, curved surface, small small radius, great distortion. Bottom, big surface, big radius, little distortion. Does any of this make sense?
Same size as the mountain, indicating the water is flat. You may conduct your own simple experiment using a regular flat mirror and a convex car reversing mirror. You'll see the image in a flat mirror is always the same size as the object.
I'm starting to think Eric doesn't understand optics, like, and all, like none of it.
While the image in a convex mirror is always smaller than the object. Many films and videos show the Earth from high up in the stratosphere as a sphere, particularly the video.
I'm pretty sure you can see curvature right there. That goes and it curves. That's definitely not a straight line.
Video where Felix Baumgartner made his famous leap in 2012 from 20 miles up from a high balloon. And of course, what we are told are views from satellites, the International Space Station, and the Hubble telescope, where the Earth is decidedly spherical. The cameras used, however, are special cameras fitted with fisheye lenses, which can...
So, nobody ever, said that fisheye lenses weren't used. But there were cameras that aren't fisheye lenses, and you can still see the curve. I'm guessing Eric's gonna go to the open door and then show that bit where you can barely see the curve, and then it's like, see, it's not curving. But the thing is, as you narrow the field of view, the apparent curvature becomes less and less and less. So, again, this does not support his point like he thinks.
show straight lines as curved, convex, or concave. But when film is taken from amateur balloons at more than 20 miles high, using a regular lens, the horizon appears flat. Critics claim there is a deliberate element of deception from space agencies.
Yes, yeah, so stating the obvious, exactly. So the whole thing wasn't to go and show the Earth is curving. It was, as Red Bull does, something extreme. So somebody, a person in fact, leaping from the edge of our atmosphere. And what do you want to film when you go up to do that? Do you want to film the Earth? Or do you want to film the person jumping?
To exaggerate the curve.
Okay. What about the videos where there's clearly straight pieces of equipment alongside where the Earth curve would be, that would be the fisheye lens curving the flat Earth? What about that? How come the one piece is straight and the other is curved in the same shot? Is it like a selective camera? It can choose what to curve?
The fisheye lens distorts the image. Critics say it is deliberately used to deceive, which is not too difficult, since the majority of people already believe the Earth is a ball, having been conditioned to see.
Okay, so with that normal, that is almost convex. If you look at it, it goes, literally sits like that. Yet, it's normal.
What they expect. The following videos show the distortion of a fisheye, which can be a
I'm gonna take my camera and put it across there. So from the one edge, flat, completely straight, look at this. That's convex. Now tell me how that is normal. Because it clearly isn't.
convex or concave lens, in contrast to a regular, normal lens. Watch the short video of the Felix Baumgartner jump on the 15th of March, 2012. Before Baumgartner jumped from his capsule from 128,000 feet above the Earth, a camera with an ordinary, regular lens inside briefly shows a flat, eye-level horizon.
I told you he's gonna bring this up. Like, the flat earthers have 3 arguments and they just repeat them. I could have debunked this video without even watching it.
Of the Earth. When Baumgartner steps out of the balloon from the capsule, an external GoPro camera is switched on, and then suddenly the whole horizon is
Exactly. It's inverted because it's fisheye. It's not something that you just, slap on the outside and pick a frame and say, oh, it's not curved. The fisheye lens is made to give a wider viewing angle for extreme sports. So it's an action camera. GoPro's a brand. So the action camera creates this wide angle for better viewing of whatever is being done.
Transformed into a curved horizon, which, according to critics, was deliberately done to give the impression of a
Are you serious? Using the actual fisheye lens and then projecting it on the earth to see it's not real. Of course that won't work. It's nowhere close to accurate.
curved Earth to meet the expectation of viewers. But watching the video more closely, the curve is too sharp and small for a complete and whole Earth. The curves
already showed that even that normal is convex.
Curves are seen as both convex and concave, according to the angle of the camera. But the horizon is not convex, nor concave, but
nor is it flat.
Flat. What is considered to be the very first view from a rocket into space from 65 miles up was from the Nazi V-2 rocket launched from
Yes, it's definitely the Nazis' fault that the Earth is flat. I completely agree.
The White Sands Missile Range of New Mexico on October 14th, 1946. A regular lens shows a flat Earth, which is quite different from the view that
Let's start. He said 65 miles. Does anybody know how high the ISS orbits? I want it in miles. Okay. Picture 1, 65 miles. Picture 2 from the ISS, 254 miles. That's 4 times higher, and you wonder how you can see more. I wonder too.
NASA released thereafter using fisheye lenses that distort the horizon even from only 5 miles high. Notice the sharpness of the curve.
Where's the 5 miles? That is from the ISS at 254 miles.
The V-2 rocket is 13 miles higher and shows a very different picture. Balloons were used extensively in the 19th century before engine-powered airplanes existed.
Do you know why balloons were used? Because helium, and I'm guessing hydrogen, a lot lighter than the air that the air that we are breathing. So, to fill a balloon with helium and let it go up required a lot less energy than igniting a rocket and pushing all that metal up there. But it does not require, have the required thrust, but with a balloon it would be like buoyancy as it goes up through the atmosphere to take heavy things there. And that's what we need.
Reports from that time are very interesting and worth reading the impressions given by those balloonists. In an editorial from the London Journal, July 18, 1857, one journalist described the experience of his hot air balloon ascent. Quote, "The chief peculiarity of the view from a balloon at a considerable elevation was the altitude of the horizon."
Also, a hot air balloon doesn't go nearly high enough. And secondly, the balloon will stop going up as soon as it reaches the part of the atmosphere where it will have zero buoyancy, basically. So the density of the gas in the balloon is equal to that of the atmosphere around it, which is where rockets are nice because they don't care about the density around them, they just push through.
which remained practically on a level with the eye at an elevation of 2 miles, causing the surface of the Earth to appear concave, and to recede during the rapid ascent, whilst the horizon and the balloon seemed to be stationary. The horizon always rises up to meet the eye at high level. Observe.
No, it doesn't. Take your favorite, a flat earther's favorite. Take a level, like a spirit level. Okay. So, or take two short ones. One long one will also be fine. And at sea level, place it exactly level and look down on it to where it will converge with the horizon. Now go on to a high building. Let's say let's go very high, Burj Khalifa. Do the same. Does the horizon rise to that level of the spirit level, or is it now below it?
Observers from a balloon 20 miles high, using a standard lens, would have to look.
There's nobody like Eric Dubay that really makes my skin crawl. He truly is a work of art. We are at least halfway through this video of his, so let's push through.
Look down to see the horizon, but in practice, the horizon is always at eye level. If the Earth is flat, why is it not possible to see a city 50 miles away with the naked eye?
Yes, why?
Because of perspective and the nature and structure of the human eye. An average person sees the horizon about 3.5 to 6 miles away.
Okay, you can't see the end of a long hallway because it shrinks. Sure, perspective makes it shrink. But you can take a powerful camera like a P900 maybe and zoom in and see the entire end of the hallway. You can't do that on Earth. I can't from Cape Town, for example, or let's do East Coast. I can't from Durban stand and zoom in over the ocean towards Madagascar. I can't zoom into Madagascar. No matter what I use, it's just not possible. And that's not perspective, that's spheric. That's the sphere. Yeah, work of art is I use that term loosely. I don't have the words for it, but yeah, he definitely has a bloated ego.
A person can see a little further perspective. Perspective may be explained by railway lines. The lines are perfectly parallel, but a person standing in the middle.
Okay. So he understands that railway lines are perfectly parallel and it seems like they converge to a point. But I'm guessing we're going to get to like corpuscular rays and he's going to do the opposite. And look, they're converging. The sun is right there.
Middle of the lines, looking into the distance, sees them getting closer and closer. Although the person knows they are the same distance apart, but they can only see as far as the horizon. The railway line appears to get smaller, but of course it does not. It is approaching the vanishing point. But this is just perspective, and nothing has really vanished. When a person starts to walk away down the middle of a road, they appear to get smaller, and eventually their legs start to appear blurry and shimmering. This is because of the density of the air and light returning from the legs becoming distorted.
So he's confusing Earth curve with like a basic mirage almost.
Perspective, however, can be changed by using binoculars, zoom lens, or a telescope, and the image of the person appears closer and visible again. Eventually, the person still walking down the road disappears, not because they have gone over the curve of the Earth, but simply because they have gone out of range of view, called the vanishing point. Ships at sea that appear to disappear at the bottom can be restored to full view using a good zoom lens camera.
A good zoom lens must be the Nikon. Isn't there also a thing that like Nikon had like got some sort of contract with NASA, but just like in the same time, like the P900 or the P1000 like reached its end of like its lifetime, and everybody started saying it's because NASA banned their sales.
The bottom of the ship can come into focus, and the bow seen clearly breaking the waves.
So with that refraction there, you can see a clear line in between the water and the like the RC ship that it has there. Yet you never see that with a normal ship far away over the horizon. It makes me think of that like that meme. This one is small. Those out there are far away.
There are hundreds of videos produced by researchers which demonstrate that ships do not vanish around the curve of the Earth.
Again, I want to see something. Yeah, if my camera would just stop snapping. So, I'll transition now. But there's clear curvature there. Like, I'm touching there. There's a gap and a gap on the other side. I mean, if they would just put half of the effort that he does, like, into just thinking, he would never have been a flat earther.
The teaching in schools that ships at sea disappear because they've gone over the curve of the Earth is no longer a credible proof that the Earth has a curved surface.
Yes, it is. You are just not credible enough to understand it.
It's part of the natural physics of water and other fluids to always find their level and remain flat. If disturbed in any way, motion ensues until the flat level is resumed. If raised up, then released, the nature of all liquids is to flood outwards.
Again, yes, water bends. I mean, have you not watched Avatar: The Last Airbender?
Taking the easiest course towards finding its new level. Hydroelectric power stations are a testament to this fact.
My mom bakes cakes. A man can dream. We can always dream and hope that a Flirth would maybe someday start thinking. Again, so stating the obvious, yeah, no. So remember, it can only apply when it proves their point. So you can never use a point if it's not proving your point. If it ever proves the contrary, you can't use it.
But if the Earth is a giant sphere, tilted on its vertical axis, spinning through never-ending space, then it follows that truly flat, consistently level surfaces do not exist here. Moreover, if the Earth is spherical, then it follows that the surface of all Earth's...
He mixed up the titles there between the fantasy and reality. This man is really tiring. And it's just the same points over and over and over again. When I started my channel, I did that 200 proofs that the earth is flat from Eric Dubay. And at one point I realized I can just like record like 4 videos and then just play them at the individual points. My mom bakes cakes. We're not proud of that. It's like if you want, like wherever you're from, if you want him, you can take him. Um, yeah, we're not proud. We don't say that like loudly. Not a lot of people need to know about that. There's other people from South Africa. I mean, Charlize Theron's from South Africa. Think about that. She's a great actress. Roger Federer's mom is from South Africa. Like, let's ignore Flatswood.
Water, including the massive oceans, must maintain a certain degree of convexity. But this is contrary to the fundamental physical nature of water to always be and remain level. The Nile River in Africa is 4,132 miles long.
You are in denial. So, again, this was one of those 200 proofs. This one, the Suez Canal, there's another canal in there, I think, that he used. The train tracks, I'm not sure what else there is, but it's all the same thing. Like curvature and so how much the earth curves versus if something is level, they correlate. So if you take, let's say, 10 meters and you measure the poles that are 10 meters apart and you measure them perfectly level. Okay, now you go to the next one. 10 meters apart, perfectly level. And you carry that on and on and on around the world without ever looking back. You'd come to a point back at the original one and it would still be perfectly level given that there's nothing in your way and all that. But if you now zoom out, they're going to be around the globe because level on a small scale seems flat. Level on a large scale is the same distance from this Earth's surface or from sea level. So if I put something at 10 meters from sea level, all around the globe, it's going to be 10 meters from sea level, each one of them. But on the big picture, it's going to be round. Yeah. I think with that, I must move out of South Africa so that I can get far away as possible from them because I don't want to live in denial.
Flowing over an arc of the curve of the Earth would subtend an angle at the center of the Earth of about 60 degrees. Then, logically, it must flow uphill at some stage, and then down to the Mediterranean. There are other long rivers, such as the Congo and Amazon, totally incompatible with the supposed globularity of the Earth. As Thomas Winship says, we know from practical experience.
So it's the same proof no matter what river you're at. The same idea. I think Simon Dan or somebody did a video where the guy literally took toothpicks on the globe and then explained this with the Nile River, and it's like, are you dumb?
That water will find its level, and cannot by any possibility remain other than level, or flat, or horizontal, whatever term may be used to express the idea. It is therefore quite out of the range of possibility that rivers could do as they would on a globe. The situation is even more baffling when scientists say the force of gravity is a weak force, yet it's able...
It is a weak force. If gravity was stronger than the strong and the weak nuclear forces, you would physically not be able to exist. Because if gravity was stronger than that, you'd be ripped apart. The same goes for the more you weigh. So there's a reason why we only get mountains that are certain heights, because their mass gets too much and they are pulled flat. The largest mountain in our solar system, I think, is on Mars. Can't remember the name now. But the reason why it's bigger than any mountain on Earth is weaker gravitational force there.
To hold down trillions of tons of water on the surface of the Earth while traveling at 67,000 miles an hour in orbit and rotating over 1,000 miles.
So, speed or velocity is not the same as acceleration. So there's a video of, I think it's Roger Federer, Novak Djokovic, or one of them, playing tennis on a plane's wing while it's moving. Yet the ball goes across and they can return, and yet the plane is moving at, let's say, 300 kilometers an hour or whatever it was. I can't remember the exact. But it's not accelerating. That's the big thing. Those maglev trains in Japan, they go extremely fast. Yet you can sit on them with like a glass of water without spilling a drop, because it's not accelerating when it's at that high speed.
An hour at the equator. Critics contend that all the evidence indicates that Earth is not moving and is flat. Anyone can show that the horizon is perfectly flat by a simple experiment on a suitable beach. Take a rigid plank of wood about 6 feet long or more and place it across 2 tripods, as shown here.
So, Eric likes to tell you what experiments to do without ever doing them himself, which makes me think that he's afraid of what, either afraid of what he'll find and that it's not flat, or he truly doesn't know how. Like, he reads these words of a script that somebody gave him and he just doesn't understand what he's saying.
Using a spirit level to ensure it is perfectly horizontal, place a plumb line in the middle.
Okay, so just a question. Eric, do you maybe have an idea why a plumb line won't work? What is at the end of a plumb line? Something that has mass. And if it has mass, it gets drawn to the center of the Earth. Now, the Earth is a sphere. Okay, so that's why the plumb line always goes plumb, like straight down, is because of gravity. Okay, I'm going to start a poll here quickly. No. Okay, feel free to answer that, because I truly think not. That's my honest opinion. I truly think not.
And at various places across the plank to ensure it is perfectly level and square to the ground. Then, facing the sea and taking a line of sight, line up the plank with the distant horizon.
The thing is,
Earth was curved.
This is exactly what I said earlier with the whole river thing. If you do that to infinitum and it goes around and round, it's always gonna look like everything's flat in between each pole. But on the bigger picture, it won't. It's gonna be, you guessed it, a sphere.
And the curve could be observed over a great expanse of the horizon. The curve should be observable at both ends of the plank. The Kiel Canal, that cuts across Denmark Peninsula is almost 57 miles,
Same
91
proof.
kilometers long, without a single lock to raise it.
It's the exact same thing. He thinks that because the earth curves, the water will fall away and they'll have to push some more water up to keep the boat level. But I'm honestly speechless.
Up and over a 91-kilometer curve. There are thousands of canals, hundreds of miles long, across the world, that are perfectly flat. If there are locks, it is to lift the boats and ships over a rugged, flat landscape, not a curved earth. Other examples are the Suez Canal, 100
I
miles
told you.
connecting the
Suez
Mediterranean
Canal
and the
as well. All of these are the same proof. I'm pretty sure Eric took that 200 proofs video of his and just split them up again and then just re-released everything.
Red Sea. Canals and railways are always custom-made horizontally,
And railways.
often over hundreds of miles, without any allowance made for
I'm not even kidding. It's like just one set script.
curvature. One surveyor, Mr. T. Westwood, wrote in January 1896 to the Earth Review magazine, stating that, quote, "In leveling, I work from ordnance."
So, if you go back on my channel to one of the 200 proofs, it's in there somewhat. It's literally the script, because I remember this Earth What magazine, and there's literally no change in his, like, anything he says. It's always the same 4 proofs, just in different, like, scenarios.
Marks, or canal levels, to get the height above sea level. The puzzle to me used to be that over several miles,
It's even the same videos. Like, it's frame by frame, it's the same video.
level was treated throughout its length as the same level from end to end, not the least allowance
Level and elevation is not the same thing. It's not at all the same thing.
being made for curvature. Another surveyor and engineer of 30 years wrote to the Birmingham Weekly Mercury on February 15, 1890, stating,
It's extremely funny that all of these people that he quotes are like pre-1900s. Like, nobody after like 1900 was dumb enough to believe this. Yet here we are 126 years later with the exact same things.
"I am thoroughly acquainted with the theory and practice of civil engineering. However bigoted some of our professors may be in the theory of surveying, according to the prescribed rules, yet it is well known that such theoretical measurements are incapable of any practical illustration. All our locomotives are designed to run on what may be regarded as true levels or flats. Anything approaching 8 inches in the mile, increasing as the square of the distance."
Oh my days. This is 8 inches per mile squared again. All the way from the front. So we've gone almost full circle, starting with 8 inches per mile squared, and now almost ending with it.
Could not be worked by any engine that was ever yet constructed. Early in 1898, I met Mr. Hughes, chief officer of the steamer City of Lincoln. This gentleman told me he had projected thousands of miles of local railway in South America, and never heard of any allowance for curvature being made. If the earth
the reason why you don't allow for earth curve when you work with railways is because you lay them at, let's say, 10 meters a time. You don't lay them at 100 kilometers a time.
If it were a sphere, airplane pilots would have to constantly correct their altitudes downwards so as to not fly straight off into outer space. If the Earth were truly a sphere, 25...
First of all, no. There's such a thing called gravity, first of all, and then lift. So the airplanes have lift. Lift is what counteracts the gravity, and they almost balance out to keep constant altitude. Now there are minor corrections that happen throughout the entire flight, so small that you won't notice them, but they do happen because gravity continues to pull the plane towards the Earth.
5,000 miles in circumference, covering 8 inches per mile squared. A pilot, wishing to maintain their altitude at a typical cruising speed of 500 miles per hour, would have to constantly tip their nose downward and descend 2,777 feet every minute. When pilots set an altitude, their artificial horizon gauge remains level, and so does their course. Nothing like the necessary 2,777 foot per minute.
This man is yeah, so this man is I can feel like my IQ dropping as I'm listening to him. Stating the obvious, yeah, it's exactly what you said there. It's every segment can be considered flat, but over 100 kilometers, it would have followed the Earth's curvature because guess what? It's there.
Declination is taken into consideration. Similarly, ship's captains in navigating great distances at sea never need to factor the supposed curvature of the Earth into their calculations. Both plain sailing and great circle sailing.
What is a great circle, Eric? A great circle is the shortest path between 2 points on a sphere that has the same radius as that sphere. Now, you can't have that if you don't have a sphere.
The most popular navigation methods use plane, not spherical trigonometry. Plain sailing is navigating a ship making all mathematical calculations on the assumption that the Earth is perfectly flat. If the Earth were in fact a sphere, such an errant assumption would make constantly glaring inaccuracies, and the necessity for using spherical trigonometry would become obvious. All distances, whether they be great or small, by sea, rely upon ordinary flat Earth triangulation calculation.
No.
From the highland near Portsmouth Harbour in Hampshire, England, looking across
Flat Earth triangulation calculations. I don't even think what's his name? The flat earther who couldn't have a 90-degree angle with side lengths or a triangle with side lengths 1, 1, and 1. What's the internal angles? If you can't even do that, I'm pretty sure there's no such thing as flat earth triangulation.
Across the Spithead to the Isle of Wight, the entire base of the island, where water and land come together, makes a perfectly straight line 22 statute miles long. According to the ball earth theory, the Isle of Wight should decline 80 feet from the center.
See, it's not that difficult. Stating the obvious, it's 60. Like, I'm guessing you're living up to your name. You are quite stating the obvious. But yeah, that's the entire... Anthony Bear or someone, I can't remember the person's name. But it was also on a live stream, and the guy literally asked him, like, if I have a triangle with side lengths 1, 1, and 1, what are the internal, like the interior angles, and he couldn't. He said he doesn't know, doesn't have enough information.
Of each side to account for the necessary curvature. The crosshairs of a good theodolite directed there, however, have
Again, field of view is important.
repeatedly shown the land and the water line perfectly level. Since 2014, when Eric Dubay's book The Flat Earth Conspiracy was published.
And did he just like mention himself in the third person? Okay, I'm now convinced that this is AI. He literally called himself Eric Dubay. So I'm not sure whoever runs this YouTube channel is real anymore. Or he's just like selling himself now, like, go buy my book.
Hundreds of ordinary people have conducted experiments all over the world.
Yet you haven't. Ordinary people have conducted experiments, probably most of them not correct, but you have done a full total of none.
Anyone can conduct an experiment without any sophisticated instruments. Experiments with lasers are common, since lasers can now be purchased easily online.
Okay. Let's do the laser experiment, Eric. We can go out to like a lake where that it's big enough, but we do it in the evening, and then you stand with like a cardboard with a hole in it, like 3 feet high, and I'll stand on the other side with a cardboard also with a hole in it at like 3 feet high, and then we have one in the middle of the lake, 3 feet high with a hole in it, and then I'll shine it through, and then we see if you can see my laser.
NASA are aware of these arguments too, so why do they not address these issues? What do astronomers say about all?
NASA doesn't address these issues because it's not an issue. If you have a company or a government agency that physically has satellites and equipment outside of our solar system, I mean, well, I think Voyager and what was the other ones already left like the sun's sphere of influence. So then this is minor. Nobody, the 5 true flat earthers out there isn't going to make a difference.
These anomalies. Astronomers have no answer within the framework of the ruling paradigm, heliocentricity. Does this show the heliocentric paradigm fraying at the edges?
No, it's not. It's stronger than ever.
If so, this may be a time for change. According to philosopher Thomas Kuhn, paradigms need to be flexible, ready to incorporate new learning as it unfolds. NASA reacts by ridiculing anyone who considers and supports flat Earth arguments, monitoring flat Earth literature and media, placing warning signs on all permissible flat Earth videos and books, and forbidding or banning flat Earth videos on YouTube.
So, Eric, if flat Earth videos are banned on YouTube, quickly tell me how are you then on YouTube and making money on YouTube
and in publications? Just pretending these anomalies don't exist isn't going to make...
Okay, so he's selling his Patreon. Okay.
them go away, and certainly isn't a good look for
Please
NASA.
don't join.
For now, it seems NASA is content ignoring these anomalies.
Thanks, Eric.
Hoping that flat earthers, like
Peace out.
ships at sea...
So, I'm done with Eric. But I'll probably not done. I'm like I'm like somewhat in an abusive relationship, always just coming back for more. I can't get out of this. But with that said, Eric is, as always, a lying grifter. So, some channel news. Go. As you'll see at the top right here, there is a goal. So my goal for this year is like 1,500 subscribers. So we're 430 away from that. Do share my video and my channel with everyone everywhere so that we can reach that goal. If I reach it before the end of the year, I'll just move it up a bit. But yeah, so this is I think it's my first live stream of the year, or the second one, I can't remember. Some other news is I've been busy personal life. The missus and I are expecting, so it's going to be some personal changes coming. So I'm going to try keep a regular upload schedule, if not upload a regular streaming schedule, because streaming is a bit easier at this stage with work throughout the day. But yes, so if you do enjoy my channel, if you feel you can financially support, I do have Patreon and memberships on YouTube. If you want to suggest anything or any video, I have a link down in the description. It's a Google Forms where you can just fill out and just submit the video or a link to a video, or where I can find the video. And then you might see it on a live stream or on a video that I do on the channel itself. So thanks everyone for coming out, for watching this extremely painful video from Eric Dubay as usual. Hit that likes button. It does truly help the channel a lot. And I'll see you next time. As always, I'm Heinrich, the real nuclear physicist. Thanks for joining.